been a fan of your music since pretty much the beginning, so it's nice when a new record comes out and it kind of blows you away like that. You good? Okay. Talk about being able to present these new songs now to a crowd and bring it out on tour. Is it you know, an extra special thrill when you have new music to play and you're proud of it and there's a new record to go along with it? Is it a cool vibe being on stage?
Yes, it's proselytizing. We didn't come from an evangelical background, but we like to think we're rock evangelicals for the old-time rock experience. And Eleanor's the preacher on the scene.
That sums it
The
up.
Lady Bishop. I think of Eleanor as the Lady Bishop of rock and roll.
If only I
A
had
lady
the
bishop.
the outfits to match.
You need some robes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I couldn't help but notice the new Rolling Stone. You guys are like fashion icons.
Oh, I haven't
now.
seen that yet.
Eleanor's.
How did
Both
it
of you
turn
are
out?
featured in there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. What's that like? Kind of
Matt's
being held
wearing
up as-
his uniform right now.
Yeah.
Jeans and a Dickies work shirt.
Unfortunately, Levi stopped making, or they told me that the brand of jeans that I normally wear, and these are a little too modern looking. I hope the camera can't see them.
Is it something though when you guys get to a certain point in your career and in what you're doing, where people are looking at you and what you're wearing, not just talking about the first album or who are they, but they're already talking about what you're doing, and people don't have to really describe who you are. Just is that fun? Is it goofy? Is it?
What's it like?
I've been letting people into my apartment recently, which I'm thinking is going to be a big mistake later.
To take pictures, you
Yeah,
mean?
so
Not just
now-
people on the street that come up to you.
Yeah, well, there may as well be strangers from off the street, you know. I'm giving everybody everything now. Just
Oh,
letting it
wow.
all hang out.
Do you have something you want to announce into the camera?
Hi, no.
Hi, Mom?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, but no. Yeah. She's going to be here tonight anyway.
Oh yeah, oh, that's cool.
She loves us. She loves the fiery
She
furnaces,
does
I
anyway.
mean. Yeah.
Is it a big deal when you come
She's
to
a big
LA? Is the guest list and celebrities coming to the shows?
Tons of celebrities to beat him off with a stick.
But do you have a little bit of that? Are you conscious of that? Is that fun for the?
We just go to the Walk of Fame and we take tracings off, you know, Chaplin. Actually, tracings of people we've never heard of. And we take them up on stage and put them under the amplifiers to have that ghostly star power
There you go.
from the tracings of the star. Isn't that true?
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to be the star tracing that you'll have in your back pocket tonight? Lionel Richie?
He's it doesn't have to be a dead person.
It doesn't have to be dead.
Oh,
It's
right,
preferably dead, though.
Lionel Richie, I saw him in the airport once and he smiled at me.
Oh, well, maybe it should be him then.
Sure.
Fatty Arbuckle?
Dancing on the ceiling.
Anyway, that
Fatty'd be right here at the bar.
Fatty would be in the restroom with a young woman.
That's right. Do you guys have any pre-show rituals when you're here, besides obviously the work that goes into putting the show together? Or there's certain things you guys do?
I take my imaginary dog for a walk around the venue.
A jog?
I jog with my imaginary dog. Yeah, and I pretend that he's off the leash, so it doesn't look as though there's an imaginary. It doesn't look as though I'm pretending at all. But in my head, he's behaving very badly and almost getting hit by cars. That kind of stress of your dog, your imaginary dog, almost getting hit by a car makes going on stage a breeze.
I bet.
I've been taking baths.
Oh wow, that's kind of indulgent.
Extremely indulgent.
Do
Something
you
I've
use
never
sea
done.
salts and stuff?
Yeah,
like
I do
that?
all that.
So you hover in the
I
bath
have
water?
like my own personal spa, and then by the time I get on stage, I'm at such a relaxed state.
That you just fall asleep and you start drooling on stage.
Mm-hmm.
And right in the, luckily it's your own microphone, so the big pool of drool that comes from your relaxation isn't a problem.
Right.
It's kind of like my imaginary dog is drooling too. So, and I've always thought of Eleanor's hairstyle as being a dog, hound dog ears.
It's true.
What kind of things are going through your head? I won't comment on the dog thing. When you're up there on stage and you're doing what you do, what kind of things are going through your head?
Hopefully nothing. I mean, hopefully if I start thinking about what I didn't do that I was supposed to do during the day, then I forget the words. So I have to stay completely focused.
I look at people's clothing, especially anyone who's wearing gloves, especially fingerless gloves. There was a girl in.
Oh really?
I don't remember where she was. In Berkeley. We played outside in Berkeley. There was a woman with fingerless gloves, and I was looking at her, and I tried to compliment on her gloves, but she didn't pay any attention.
No, I try. I have a lot to remember. I mean, everybody does.
I don't have to remember anything because it's just my hand. It's just muscle memory, so I can just daydream as much as possible. Because I don't have to sing. But if you have to remember words, then you have to concentrate. It's a tough job.
Well, how tough is it? Because obviously these songs are well-crafted songs. This stuff isn't stuff that just, at one time maybe it pours out of you, but these are well-crafted songs, and you guys do this night after night.
That's why it's very crafty.
Yeah.
Think of ourselves as combination plumbers, lady hobbyists. Like people go to Hobby Lobby and buy whatever things to make iron-on shirts or something like that. But then the other side of it is very serious municipal plumbers working on the sewer system. What do you think about that?
That's a good analogy, yeah.
But I'm sorry, that wasn't your question, really.
No, what was my question? But in terms of keeping that all together, how much practice is involved in putting together, you take this on the road and when you're actually in the studio, is this something that takes days to really get down the way you want,
Minutes.
weeks, months?
Takes weeks. It's easy for me because I tell people what to do, and I just tell myself to do something easy. I don't have to tell myself to do anything that I can't do. So for me, it's very easy. But for everyone else, it's potentially difficult. It takes practices. And so I feel especially guilty when I make a mistake because I feel like I'm letting everyone down. I have the easy job. But it takes
We practice for weeks
but it's
above a motorcycle shop in
that's
Brooklyn.
true. And then
And compete with the motorcycles revving. So I think sometimes are loud because we
Yeah.
have to be louder than the motorcycles.
that's right.
I'm not
that's why-
joking, actually. It's not a joke.
That's why our stage show is loud rock music because of the environment we're practicing. If we played in the woods in a gazebo, then it would be, we'd probably bring some flutes on stage
Mhm.
because over a motorcycle show. But making records, you have to, it's time consuming, but it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Talk about making this one, and from everything you read, I don't know how much of this is fun, how much of this is
True.
real in terms of the women's
Yeah, that's
magazines and the Ouija board, all that kind of stuff. What actually went into Widow City?
Well, we wanted to make a record that wasn't so much a 70s sounding record, but a record full of 70s sounds. Therefore, we wanted the lyrics to reflect or be made up of other sorts of 70s pop culture artifacts. So Eleanor did some research. What did you do?
Found huge stack of House and Garden, House Beautiful magazines from the early 70s in our grandmother's basement that she cleverly kept because she knew that I'd need them one day. And
Heirlooms.
and we studied the ad copy at the backs of these magazines, so a lot of the lyrical content is from those magazines. So that's
And
not a joke. That's
yeah.
true.
Eleanor made a big list, and then I made stories out of them, and then wrote the other lyrics to try to live up to the beautiful ad copywriting that Eleanor transcribed from the ads.
So are these like extensions of projects you guys have always done together even when you were younger? Is
No.
it something more fabulous and creative and artsy as you've grown up, or is this
No.
a matter of just doing something, put into words what you guys try to do with each record?
Well, we try to make a record based on whatever 7 records we like, that we agree on that we like, and we make a record based on that. It's hopefully not going to sound. It's hopefully going to add something new to those records in the past we like. That's what we actually do. Or we have we made a record with our grandmother. We wanted to make a record to take advantage of her personality. But we think of each record as one particular project, as opposed to, we don't think of it. We're a band with a sound, and we're trying to develop a sound. We don't think like that. We think of things record to record. And what was I going to say?
But where does that kind of creative, cool impulse come from? And why not write a record about, like most people do, about what went on in your life this last year? Or does some of that seep into the music and people may not even realize?
No, that doesn't seep into the music, except only very brief. Not anymore. It doesn't. Why don't we do that? Because that's the fun of that. Anyway, it's not about sincerity really. Whether people can relate to your songs, it's whether it's well articulated or well crafted. Anyway, so the origin, whether the lyrics are from your own life or something you read or something you told. I don't think that's what people necessarily are able to find especially communicative. It's whether or not it's well done or not.
We're in the middle of something. Can you guys keep it down?
Give us 5 minutes? Thank you.
They gotta get the light on the System of the Down record.
We're not allowed to plug in a light, but they want to get that. The other day I was interviewing Bob Mould, and one of the club guys who came over with a tennis ball and a racket, hit a ball right in the middle of an interview and hit a camera guy in the head.
You kidding me?
What?
Bob screamed at the guy.
Bob is a big man. Wrestling to the ground.
Yeah, that was a scary voice. Scary.
Yeah.
All right, back to what we were.
I'm
We did
sorry, I'm
something.
trying to give you nice short quotes.
No,
I'm
you're
not doing a very good
You
job
guys
of
are
it.
doing great. So.
I'm talking, you wanted to say something?
Did you have another question?
Just
Was
brief-
that too?
Well, just your side of that when you taking on that kind of thing with the new record and.
Well, yeah, I mean, the way I think of it, especially with this one, is, you know, Matt and I, what he was trying to say, I think, when he said something about the 7 records, you know, like, I say, Matt, let's do a song like this, and he
I have
makes
to
his
go away and do it.
version of something that I like, which I know that sounds kind of a weird collaborating process, but that's a song like Navy Nurse on the new record. You know, I wanted to have a song that was a combination of Van Morrison and Led Zeppelin. So Matt went away, and it doesn't sound like Van Morrison or Led Zeppelin to anybody else probably, but to me that's Matt making a song to please my tastes.
Yeah, I'm like the chef, and Eleanor's the imperious duchess telling him to make some ridiculous concoction, and I have to go away and do it, put on my white hat, and then give it to her. But even if sometimes she'll like it, but sometimes she won't like it. But I'll refuse to make another dessert, and that'll have to be the song.
When do you know
So-
it's working? What's your barometer between the two of you? When do you both kind of come together, and at what point in the process does it really gel, and do you kind of know that it's the right
I
way?
don't know.
When we don't disagree about it, I guess.
Yeah, there's no secret.
There's a lot of arguing. Not arguing like we're disagreeing, but saying this is fine because of this and this reason. That's how I like to talk. I like to always have an excuse for everything that everything on the record, every sound or something has got to have some excuse in the story of the lyric. So I always like to have some ready justification for anything that maybe Eleanor doesn't want me to do on the song. So there's stuff like that. And then we just stop arguing, and that's the song.
What does the critical acclaim mean to you guys over the years when people say good things about what you're doing? How much of it do you pay attention to? How much of it do you kind of just move on to the next project?
Our parents like it, but I like bad reviews. Sometimes, because first of all, you're worried of what a bad review is going to say, and you want to read it and see if they've, insulted you in a way that you find damaging. And when they don't, then you're very pleased. It's more pleasing than in a good review, actually. And often, good reviews will praise you in a way that you don't like, but bad reviews will insult you in a way that you find flattering. Like they'll say, somebody said that we played prog rock calypso with the dynamics of a hardcore band. And that
But they
sounded
meant it as an insult.
But that sounded kind of interesting to me. So often when people are trying to give you a bad review, they'll stretch and write something that's more fun than when they give you a good review, and that's more gratifying to read, actually, the negative reviews.
But the good reviews are good too.
Yeah. Well, this album's obviously getting some good stuff right out of the gate. So that's nice. What's it like for you as kind of the evolving front woman? How much have you kind of embraced being on stage and kind of being a star? Has that been a kick for you? Is that something you've kind of shied away from, or what's that been like year to year?
No, it's just something you, I think, become more and more comfortable at. It's kind of a strange thing to actually be standing in front of a lot of people, looking at you, and getting used to that part of it takes a little while. But now I'm finally used to it.
Why don't you say your thing about the softball catching? That seems the best analogy.
Sure. Yeah, when I was a kid, up until I was 17, I played softball, and I was the catcher. And the catcher, I remember my coach is always prodding me to take,
Lead.
Be the leader on the field. And I was supposed to stand up between each pitch even and say, what the scenario was, how many outs, where the player was going to go. And I didn't like doing that. It took me a long time to like to do that. But being on stage, being the singer of the band is almost the exact same thing.
Like saying 2 on,
Yeah.
2 outs,
Yeah.
play it third.
Exactly.
How would you say it?
Just like that. Perfect. So,
That's the best training to be a rock singer?
yeah, I think to all the girls out there, you know, to the young ladies out there, play sports when you're a kid, I think. Instead of, you know, practicing the guitar is good too, but I think you shouldn't shy away from being on a team.
If you want to be a rock.
If you want to be a rock star.
Like you?
Just like me.
And you guys together, your own kind of place now as a band, because it's been some years now. You're not, Brandon. People are starting to get a feel for what you guys do. Is it? Talk about just kind of the evolution and where you guys are at now in terms of, you know, popularity and sales and just where things are going as far as.
We are barely able to continue. Our sales have never been worse. There's less and less people at our shows, but we feel more confident than ever.
It's
that
true,
everything is going to
actually.
turn out all right.
It's true. See, I'm setting up the T-shirts over here. You know, we're a hands-on operation.
Success is an internal thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody can really validate it for you with their cheers or their sales figures.
But we just hope we can keep going and keep making records.
No, I mean, we've been able to make only the records that we wanted to make, not caring about anything else, and we're able to keep going. So that's a good trick. So we're pleased with that ability to do whatever we want. Not just whatever we want to please us, but and succeeding in making the sort of records that we think are good and appropriate for us to make, and being able to continue on. We've never worried about if people were going to. We've never had to worry about pandering.
And you've been
other bands do.
prolific in a good way between your own albums, your solo records, and all this over the last few years. There's been a lot going on. Are you guys always doing something? Do you ever just stop? Are you always doing something creative? Is there always something you're writing? Is there always some music you're playing?
Well, this is why I say that, you know, listening to music is, I believe in the my own theory of creative listening. You want to hear what this is?
Yeah, sure.
This is, you know, you make a mistake usually by making stuff up, trying hard to make, let me put it better. Most of what's the hard work in writing a song or making a record comes from distancing yourself from your material and manipulating it as a listener, just like you're listening. And it's not it's a position that's just the same as someone in their car listening closely to somebody else's record. So that sort of passive, what you'd normally think of as a passive stance or approach, is very much, you can tap into that for making stuff up. That's how you really make stuff up. It's the actual coming up with the material isn't nearly as important as applying your taste to it afterwards. And that applying to your taste to it afterwards is something you do all the time in your whole life, and especially while listening. I know that's useless, my explanation is useless.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's
But,
not shutting up.
and creative listening, I'm just kidding. But so it's not so much if you're always thinking of, if you're listening to music for fun, which we are, you're always thinking about music inevitably. So you come up with lots of things while listening to something else, having a positive reaction to it or a negative reaction to it, and you don't, that just reaction or just that listening, you can use that immediately to make something up in your head. It's much more fun, for me, it's much more fun to make stuff up, make music up, not playing something, but thinking of it, you know? And so when you do that, you can make up lots of things very quickly, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone. It's fun to make things up, and if you don't think of it as work, it's even more fun. If you don't think of it as having pressure, like you've got to make something up, it's got to be good, because you can just use your taste afterwards. Anyway, I'm rambling on.
But the obvious question you guys have been asked, I'm sure, since you started, but just the joy of spending so much time together.
It's a joy.
It's what's it like?
I don't know. This is my first band, you know. So Matt's been in other bands with people that he probably doesn't like as much as he likes me.
Oh yeah. I don't have anything negative I don't think any negative thoughts about Eleanor. in abstract. I only think about negative thoughts about it, you know, in just dealing with it concretely. So those little annoyances, they don't actually count.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's good. We always tell this to everybody, but you know, like, it's easy for us to fight because there's not the kind of making up process that other people probably have to go through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you always have to be on your toes with other relationships and not saying the wrong, you know, thing. But with us, it's much easier because we've been
We're used to
know,
being annoyed at each other, so we're not
mean to
offended
each other
by
always.
Is it odd for the others you bring into the fold, or?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, because we don't have any, there's no sort of politeness in our dealing with each other. And it makes you act much more moody because you're not being normal and polite, so it's got to be irritating for the other people.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't say anything to us about it.
They're just happy to be here.
So obviously you're not the first and won't be the last people to do it, but you're still conscious of the uniqueness of the working arrangement when you're taking business meetings or things you wouldn't normally do, or?
I'm not conscious of it, no. I mean, it's just
Only like when we check into an airplane or something and they think we're married.
yeah, disgusting.
But besides that,
No, it seems normal. And as you said, there's lots of bands with siblings. There's less that are brother and sister, traditionally, I guess. But it doesn't. Other people don't seem. They don't react strangely to it, so we don't notice it being strange.
Mm-hmm. Talk about the fans that come out to these shows and the kind of things you hear. People come up to you after the show, and what's kind of a common thread, if there is one, or are you often surprised by the kind of people that come to a Fiery Furnaces show?
There's been a few marine biologist fans, a flight instructor a couple days ago. What else? Lots of young people.
I met somebody last night who just, you know, heard half of a song on the radio and thought it was great and had to come and see us. That was pretty nice. That doesn't happen too often.
Lots of people from places mentioned in our songs. It's a real cheap way to get fans. To mention a lot of places in your lyrics, and then people think that it was meant to be. The fan relationship was meant to be, and bonded for life. Because you mentioned Glen Ellen, Illinois in a song. If you're from Glen Ellen. So it's mostly that, yeah. It's people posing as scientists, flight instructors who don't really have enough hours to be teaching, and people that we've mentioned where they're from in a song. Those are our fans usually. And relatives. And high school kids.
And men over 50.
Men over 50. Yeah. Single men over 50 looking for a date. Right?
That's my type.
They don't come out and say it though. It's just kind of submerged, you know.
Hidden in their eyes.
And people from Chicago.
They like us in Chicago.
White Sox fans, they like us. I'm talking in my natural accent now because I'm from Chicago.
Right. What some of your hopes and dreams? Is there a grand project you still want to tackle next? Are there certain types of ideas that you hope to get out there and sooner than later?
Matt has several.
Well, we have my new record idea is I think maybe Eleanor will like it. It's to make a octapedria.
That's the first I've heard of that.
8-sided version of Quadrophenia by
right.
The Who.
Wow.
Starring 8 personalities that Eleanor will embody. 8 people.
Kind of like
Eleanor
the new
1, Eleanor
Bob
2.
Dylan movie.
Yeah. No, not like that. I have to refine it further.
Okay.
What else? What are some of the other ideas?
I like that one.
Okay, we got that one. We've got Bob Dylan songs with quarter tone piano tuning.
That's a good one too.
Be interesting. Just with all the changes are just 1-4-5 chord changes, but because of the quarter tones, it'll be interesting. Just ballads, long verses. Then we've got our Detroit record, I call it, which is the Dead Drum Funk record, starring Bob D'Amico, our drummer, and me playing the bass. The lyrics will all be about I don't know what the lyrics will be.
Ted's gonna help me.
They'll be
From radio shows.
They'll be from radio shows and about working in car factories. I'll be about, you know, Mopar car parts. Then
That's the next 6 months.
there was one
covered
other
right
one
now.
too.
Good
Oh,
job.
there was the ABBA record, ABBA Bee Gees record, which was all from all my rock operas that I read in my spare time. The Eleanor's favorite arias from them. Arias, you know, just songs. I mean, all in the style of Fernando by ABBA. My
You guys
version of
constantly
it.
amusing each other and surprising each other. And
I'm saying I'm constantly annoying with stuff like that because I like to think out loud and make and act on it. And Eleanor likes to plan before. You know, I like to be a little. I don't know. I don't want to say spontaneous. That's not necessarily true. I like to go off on a tangent. I like digressing, constantly digressing. Right?
Mhm.
What do you call digressing? Going sideways.
I stick to the path usually.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well.
why it works.
it works well.
Thanks, Adam.
Appreciate
Yeah.
meeting you guys.
Thanks, Adam. I hope some of that you could use some of that.
There's
I'm
some
sorry.
there's some
I
great
hope
nuggets in there.
at
You
least
guys
the
are great.
dog walk, imaginary dog walking thing is
No,
fun.
you guys.
Where they're gonna disperse not too well. They're very, 3 feet, 6 feet max.